Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we'll be talking about break-even point analysis. So how do we use Microsoft PowerPoint to make a break-even point analysis? Now we have to know what BEP is first. So you can think of BEP as the point where you can start getting money from your business, because there's no point in owning a business if you don't get money from the business. You can get profit from the business. So break-even point is a calculation of the point where revenues equal expenses. How much you take out from your cash compared to how much money you get. The cost compared to the sales that you get. So at that point, when it's equal, then that's the break-even point analysis. And after that, you would be starting to get profit. Before that, you're still losing money. So there are two components of cost. There might be a fixed cost. There is also a variable cost. Most businesses run that way. So the fixed cost would include, for instance, how much you have to pay for renting the premises, for renting your store, for renting your factory. How much do you need to pay for electricity, for telephone, for paying the workers' salaries, and so on. You can see that on the bottom here. And aside from that, you have a variable expenses or variable cost, which is the cost that you need to produce, in this case, a pizza. If you don't make any pizzas, you do not have to have variable cost. But even though you don't sell any pizzas at all, because it's closed because of the pandemic, for instance, you would still have to pay the fixed expenses or fixed cost. But this, the variable cost, would only come out if you make a product. For instance, for pizza, you would be using flour, you would be using yeast, water, cheese, and pepperoni. And then this would be counted per item, per unit. Now, why is it important? Why is the break-even point analysis important? Because you would need to know when you would be starting to get a profit. If it takes too long, then it might not be preferable. It might not be feasible to open that business. But that does depend on the type of business you are in. If it's just a small tent restaurant and it takes, let's say, 5 years to get to the break-even point, that's not feasible. You might want to find a 6-month break-even point for a tent restaurant. But if you're making a tall way with huge investment, then even 10 years would be okay, because after the 10 years, you would be starting to get money, and that would be a huge amount of money. So the break-even point analysis would be used to find out whether your business is feasible or not, whether you want to really open the business or not. So in this case, you would be making a break-even point analysis of the business you started to plan in the previous session. The last session, you were trying to find out one business idea which you want to work throughout the semester. Now you're starting to find out whether it's feasible or not. If it's not feasible, then you have to tweak the variables a bit to make it feasible. If it's still not feasible, then you might have to find out a different business idea that you want to work on. Now, this is a graph of the break-even point analysis. So you can see here on the x-axis, it's units sold, how many units you're selling of that particular product. And going up, these are the revenues and the cost, the dollars or the rupiahs here. Now, the first part would be the fixed costs. The fixed cost is a horizontal line because it's always the same. How many pizzas, how many products you make, the fixed cost would be always the same, except if you were to open a new factory, open a new store, then it would be going up. Then the second part would be the variable cost. This is the fixed cost, the horizontal line here. And the variable cost actually would be using the same angle with this one, but starting from 0. Okay, it would actually start from here, going like this. That's the variable cost. Going up, the more products you sell, the higher the variable cost would be. And then because you would need to find out the total cost, you would add fixed cost plus variable cost. It would come up here. This is the total cost. Then revenues, how much you sell. And this is still the gross income because you do not find out the cost yet. It's not profit. Remember that the sales or the revenue is not profit yet. Here it starts at 0, and then the more you sell, the higher it gets. So this is the red line. The red line is sales or revenue. You count it in rupiah or in dollars. Now the difference between cost and sales, this would be either profit or losses. The break-even point is the point where the total cost would be meeting the total revenue or the total income. Now it's this point, and then this point would be either, if you make it go to the x-axis, this would be the units that are sold. So this means that if you sell 5,000 units, then you would reach the break-even point. So before you sell 5,000 units, you're still losing money. You're still in this area. After the 5,000 units, you start getting a profit here. Now, if you take it, project it to the left, to the y-axis, you get the dollar or the rupiah amount of sales that you need. In this case, you need to sell $25,000 worth of products to get at the break-even point. So you can get an x-axis, you need to sell 5,000 products, or you need to get $25,000 in revenue in sales. So this is very important to find out whether your business is feasible or not. For being a satay vendor, for instance, you need a 10-year break-even point. That's not feasible. But if it's a huge construction project, it might be feasible. This is another way of seeing it. This is emphasizing on the profit area and the loss area. Now, your first assignment, for this session, the assignment that you should do would be to make a break-even point analysis of the business that you have chosen in the previous session. And there are two parts to it. You have to find out the quantity of products that you have to sell to reach the break-even point. And you have to find out how long it takes. Quantity and then revenue, and then you can find out how long it takes to get to the break-even point based on a prediction of the increase in the number of sales that you have each day, each month, or each year. This is an example of a break-even point analysis for a single product, meaning that you're only selling one product at a time. So this is for a donut shop. And then you have the break-even point for the donut shop here. First, you have to find out the fixed cost. And then you find out the variable cost. Okay, so here the fixed cost would be, let's say, the factory or the store rent, 2 million per month. So this is routine payment that you have to make per month. Salaries, let's say there are 2 workers, they get paid 1.5 million. This is actually under the regional salary. And then this is 3 million for the electricity, you have to pay 500,000 per month, telephone 20,000, and so on, right? So you get a total of 7 million. The blender installment means you have to pay, you buy the blender using a credit from the bank. And then each month you would be paying an installment, or you can say, we call it angsuran or installment. For the oven, for the other installment comes up at 7 million. I'll show you using the original Excel, so you might be more easily understanding it. Here is the Excel I have prepared. Here. Now you can see that the variable cost would be sugar. You need sugar, a total of 1 kilogram to make 100 units. Each kilogram costs 12,000 rupiahs. So in that case, for 100 units, you would need 12,000. So for each unit, you would need 120 rupiah. The flour, you would need 5 kilograms for 100 units. So each unit would need 500 rupiah worth of the product, worth of flour. Chocolate topping, 150, and then almonds, 230, a total of 1,000. So for each donut, you would need 1,000 rupiah. That's the variable cost. You have to later on add the fixed cost also. And you can see here, I'm using the formulas. So if you write 12,000, see, and then here, I put the formula. I'm hoping that you know how to make this to make it more easier for you to count. So 1 times 12,000, B15 times D15, you get 12,000. And then this from E15 divided by 100 per unit, right? It's 120 and so on. And then the total variable cost would be a sum of all this, the sum between F15 and F19. Now let's start making the table. You see here the selling price of each unit of donut. So this is quite expensive, 15,000 rupiahs. And then in the table, you would write the units. First, this column would be showing how many units of donut, how many donuts you're selling each month. So this is still quite lenient, quite easy to achieve because you would only need to sell about 3 or 4 donuts a day. Let's change it. Not making it that cheap, but you can change this into 5,000, for instance, so make it cheaper. Later on, we'll try that. And here you can see the number keeps going up. It goes up 100 per month. First month, 100, second month, 200, third month, 300, and so on. Now, the second column would be the revenue, your income. It starts at 1.5 million, 3 million, 4.5 million. How do I get this number? By multiplying this 100 units times 15,000. So no need to type. Don't type it manually. Use a formula to make this, right? So this, let's say I take this out. Okay, I take this out first. Okay, and then I'll start new. I want to multiply this 100 units times 15,000. 100. So what is 100? 100 is at age 4. So I put the equal sign, and then this times, sorry, this. But the problem would be if you drag it down, it would not work. Why? Because you did not anchor I1, the 15,000. So it keeps moving down. What you have to do is put a dollar sign. H4 times $I, $1. Right. And then you can click the right bottom part, drag it down, and voila, you get automatic counting. So you only need to write the formula for the first row, and the next rows you would only need to drag down. For the fixed cost, it's always the same. So it's based on here, equals $D and $11. The dollar, so you would not drag down the variables here. And then fee C, variable cost. Variable cost would be different for each number of products that you make. So this would be H4, same as this, times this. Okay, you get H4 times F20. F20 with a dollar sign, and then you drag down also. And then total cost would be the sum of J4 plus K20. It would be changed. So let's say like this. It would be the sum of equals this plus this. In this case, you do not need a dollar sign because you want to go down. I'll just drag first, okay? You want to make it in the second row, this times this. In the third row, this times this. In the previous case, this case, it's always here. This times here, this times here, and so on. You do not want this cell to go downwards. And then the profit would be total cost. And then you take out the total, the revenue minus the total cost. If it's in parentheses, it means that you're still losing money. If it's without the parentheses, it means that you're getting profit already. And this is the break-even point. You do not get any profit, but you do not lose money. So that's the break-even point. The break-even point is when you sell 500 units, 500 donuts a month, or you sell donuts worth 7.5 million, and it's reflected here. So you can see here, this is the total cost. This is the revenue, and then you would be getting break-even point here. Now I'll give you another example. The example this time would be for a company that has more than one type of product. Here, this is a 2-product PEP simulation. You have a shop that sells 2 types of snacks, snack A and snack B. You have the fixed cost here, 2,190,000. Okay, and then you have 2 types of snacks. This is how much, let's say you buy in bulk and then you make it into smaller amounts. So this means that the cost of snack A is 2,000. the cost of snack B is 3,000 rupiahs a batch. Total 5,000. So this is the buying price for A, for B, and then this is the selling price for A and B because there are two products. And then this is how much you would be selling. Okay, batches of 300 and batches of 100. Now, this is used to find out how long it would take to get to the break-even point also. So here you can see the amount you would be using for each month. Okay, you would be selling every month. The addition would be 300 for snack A and 100 for snack B. So you can see here snack A, the increment increase is 300. It increases 300. And I'm using a formula. Look here, I'm using a formula. So I only still need to write just one formula for the first line, and then later on, no need to write anything. Okay, here, B increases 100. And then revenue I get here, A revenue, B total revenue, fixed cost, variable cost for snack A, variable cost for snack B. This is the total cost, this is the profit. Now it's not exact, but here it means that I'm starting to get profit at the 5th month, at the 5th month here. You see here, this is starting to get profit at the 5th month. So the second assignment would be in here. You would know how long it takes to get profit at the 5th month. And I can change this. I call it variable panel because you can always change it and it'll get a different result. You change the selling price to, look here, to change the selling price to 5,000. It would be changing. It would be quicker, the break-even point. Now it's at 3 months, less than 3 months, you start to get profit. But if you lower it, then let's say this is 2,000, then it becomes longer. Sorry, not this one, I'll change this one. It gets longer. It doesn't get, it's even longer than this chart. So you can see the break-even point in the 13, even in the 13th month. Make it back to before. So that's our assignment today. So you would be making a break-even point analysis, and you should find the break-even point in terms of total amount of products, and then also in terms of revenue and in terms of the time, how long it needs to get there. Now, try the first one first. And then after you have mastered that, you can start doing the second assignment, something like this, using the monthly time frame. So you can find when you get to the break-even point. So hopefully this would be a good start for explaining about break-even point. Okay, I think hopefully that would be enough to get you started, and we can discuss again after this. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.